So the next is generative AI. Now we are going to study or understand what is generative AI, and it refers the ability of artificial intelligence to generate new content such as images, text, or even music based on the patterns and examples it has learned from. This technology goes beyond traditional AI models that are limited to recognizing and analyzing existing data. Generative AI has a broad scope, enabling software to create original and unique outputs that mimic human like creativity. It has applications in various fields, including art design and content creation, and even drug discovery. Use cases of general AI, generative AI, that is, generative AI technologies have sometimes been described as general purpose technologies akin to stream power, electricity, and computing because they can profoundly affect many industries and use cases. It's essential to keep in mind that, like previous general purpose technologies, it often took decades for people to find the best way to organize workflows to take advantage of the new approach rather than speeding up small portions of existing workflows. Here are some ways generative AI applications could impact different areas in industries. Finance is one very important area that can watch transactions in the context of an individual's history to build better fraud detection systems. Legal firms can use generative AI to design and interpret contracts, analyze evidence, and suggest arguments. Manufacturers can use generative AI to combine data from cameras, x rays, and other metrics to identify effective parts and the root causes more accurately and economically. Film and media companies can use generative AI to produce content more economically and translate it into other languages with the actor's own voice. The media industries can use generative AI to identify promising drug candidates more efficiently. Architectural firms can use generative AI to design and adopt prototypes more quickly. Gaming companies can use generative AI to design game contents and labels. Likewise, there are so many industries, almost every industry can make effective use of generative AI. Some ethics and bias in generative AI. Despite their promise, and new generative AI tools open a can of worms regarding accuracy, trustworthiness, bias, hallucinations, and plagiarism, ethical issues that likely will take years to sort out. None of the issues are particularly new to AI. Microsoft's first foray into chatbots in 2016, called Tay, for example, had to be turned off after it had started spewing inflammatory rhetoric on Twitter. What is new is that the latest crop of generative AI apps sounds more coherent on the surface. But this combination of human-like language and coherence is not synonymous with human intelligence. And there currently is great debate about whether generative AI models can be trained to have increasingly ability, or one Google engineer was even fired after publicly declaring the company's generative AI app. The convincing realism of generative AI content introduces a new set of AI risks, makes it harder to detect AI generated content, and more importantly, makes it more difficult to detect when things are wrong. This can be a big problem when we rely on generative AI results to write code or provide medical advice. Many results of generative AI are not transparent, so it is hard to determine. For example, they infringe on copyrights, or if there is problem with the original sources from which they draw results. If you don't know how the AI came to a conclusion, you cannot reason why it might go wrong. Now, generative AI versus AI. Generative AI produces a new content, chat responses, designs synthetic data, for deepfakes. Traditional AI, on the other hand, has focused on detecting patterns, making decisions, owning analytics, classifying data, and detecting fraud. Generative AI, as noted, often uses neural network techniques such as transformers, GANs, and VAs. Other kinds of AI in distinction use techniques including convolution neural network, recurrent neural network, and reinforcement learning. Generative AI often starts with a prompt that lets a user or data source submit a starting query or a data setup to guide content generation. This can be an iterative process to explore content variations. Traditional AI algorithm process new data to return a simple result. Best practices for using generative AI. The best practices for using generative AI will vary depending on the modalities, workflow, and desired goals. That said, it is important to consider essential factors such as accuracy, transparency, and ease of use in working with generative AI. The following practices help achieve these factors. Clearly label all generative AI content for users and customers. Vet the accuracy of generated content using primary sources where applicable. Consider how bias might get woven into generated AI results. Double check the quality of AI generated code and content using other tools. Learn the strengths and limitations of each generative AI tool. Familiarize yourself with common failure modes in results and work around these. The future of generative AI, the incredible depth and ease of ChatGPT have shown tremendous promise for the widespread adoption of generative AI. Be sure it has also demonstrated some of the difficulties in rolling out this technology safely and responsibly. But these early implementation issues have inspired research into better tools for detecting AI generated text, images, and videos. Industry and society will also build better tools for tracking the provenance of information to create more trustworthy AI. Thank you.